The Jewish Christians to whom Hebrews was addressed were tempted to abandon their Christian faith and return to Judaism under the threat of persecution. Some of them had lost their properties and had suffered public ridicule because of their faith. To them, the Jewish religion was a good system. It spelled out how to live, the rituals were satisfying, and it was a faith that their forefathers had lived with. The author of Hebrews was trying to convince the people that a religious system in place for over 1400 years before Christ had been replaced by a better way, unique from other texts. He uses Hebrews to emphasize the supremacy of Christ as our high priest. In our lesson today, the author identifies Melchizedek, like Jesus, as both king and priest of the Most High God. Now, this was not allowed in Israel. You could be king, you could be priest, but you couldn't be both. But Melchizedek was both. The story is that Melchizedek met Abraham with bread and wine. Abraham had gone after 4 kings that had taken his nephew Lot and his family captive. Abraham defeated these kings, recovered the goods, Lot and his family. As Abraham returned from this battle, Melchizedek came out to meet him. He blessed Abraham, and Abraham gave Melchizedek 1/10 of his spoils. In Hebrews, Melchizedek is presented without genealogy or end of days. In these ways, he is made like the Son of God and remains priest perpetually, like Jesus. His name tells us of righteousness and peace. Jesus is called in John, Jesus Christ the righteous. Jesus was not of the tribe of Levi. Like Melchizedek, his priesthood was of God, not of Levi. Jewish priests were of the tribe of Levi. But remember, Levi, the patriarch of Jewish priests, paid tithes to Melchizedek through Abraham. Thus, Melchizedek, a priest of the Most High God, was of an order higher than Levitical priests who paid him tithes. Jesus was of the order of Melchizedek, so he was of an order higher than Jewish Levitical priests. Now, why is so much time spent on this issue? The epistle is written to Jewish Christians. Keep in mind that Jews regarded the law of Moses and the system of sacrifice as virtually untouchable. The Levitical priests were so closely linked to the law that you could not change the priesthood without changing the law. The weakness and uselessness of the law was not inherent in the law itself. Paul explained, the law is holy and the commandments are holy and good. The problem was the weakness in the sinful flesh that could not keep the law. The law did not make us perfect. It showed us our imperfections. It was useless to save us. Jesus was the better hope that could save us, the high priest of the new covenant. Levitical priests were chosen strictly on their lineage, along with being free of certain physical defects. Jesus was appointed by God, and he was obedient to his Father even through the pain. There were many Levitical priests, as the scripture says, but they all died and were replaced. But Jesus, because he continues forever, is priest permanently. The author makes the point because he wants to say to his readers that Jesus can save us even now. Levitical priests who could not save themselves from death, how can they save us? In making the comparison, he says, Jesus is holy and blameless. Levitical priests are sinful and weak. Jesus offered himself as a living sacrifice. Levitical priests daily have to offer animals as sacrifices for themselves and for others. Jesus is perfect. These Jews were struggling with departing from their traditions. We still have religious traditions. Some of these traditions hinder our path to Jesus. We are reluctant to give these traditions up. They're familiar to us. We're comfortable with them. The church must meet at a certain time. Our dress must be a certain way. The music must be a certain type. Pews are set in a certain order. Seats reserved for certain people. Only one translation of the Bible is allowed. No mention of moral dilemmas that wreck our community. Sunday school is taught in the same way it was taught in 1967 because that was the way we learned it. Our churches and our traditions are linked, and we are comfortable. We don't think about the impact, the meaning of these traditions on Christians today. Hebrew tells us to follow the higher calling of the priest, the king, Jesus. We should depart from traditions that do not focus us on Jesus, and we do not need to fear the ridicule and wrath of others who would frown upon our departure. Paul clearly says when he wrote that we are saved by God's grace, the unmerited favor of God. It is our faith in Jesus Christ, not our traditions, that saves us. Early voting has already started where I am. I won't tell you who to vote for, but I'll certainly tell you, please go vote. Now, you have a great week, and thank you for listening. Bye.